fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret. Trained to live off nature's land, trained in combat hand to hand, men who fight by night and day, courage take from the Green Beret, silver wings upon their chest. These are men, America's best. 100 men will test today, but only 3 win the Green Beret. Back at home, a young wife waits. Her Green Beret has met his fate. He has died for those oppressed, leaving her this last request. Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man they'll test one day. Have him win the Green Beret.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 4th of May, the Tuesday Morning Roundtable. We have Leon Green, former U.S. Navy officer, Jeff Nyquist. His website's jrnyquist.blog. His book's available for sale at amazon.com. I think you have some more, Leon, to get out here on the diesel situation.
Yeah. You know, he was talking about wanting to build a wine cellar or a food cellar. Yeah, I would definitely say the food by far is more important. But if you have it, you know, in a protected area that, you know, you don't have a lot of sunlight hitting it, then, yeah, you could have a shed. Even those sheds that you see at, you know, the big box stores, so those would work. And you could conceivably put 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 of them, depending on how big it is, and use that as a table to store other things on top of. And so, you know, if you're concerned about any leakage, yeah, you can make a little mini berm like they have around the oil refinery locations, and they're typically they're based on the maximum amount of liquid that could come out. And yeah, you can put the black plastic that's heavy duty. It's made for like a water pond liner that prevents any leakage, so you know you don't spoil the property or ruin your garden or septic tank and things of that nature. So yeah, there's many ideas, and you can contact. There's several people out there that will be able to give you all the specs on that, and I would definitely recommend that. But definitely get more fuel before it becomes prohibitively expensive. Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, Thomas. Thank you for the call. We appreciate it. The call number is 512-248-8252. Well, Jeff, we and Len, we talk about preparedness a lot. People expect the government to help them, the same government that could not find the Superdome for a week in New Orleans, a building so large it could be seen from space. I don't have any faith in FEMA coming to help us at all. Do you, Jeff?
FEMA coming to help us? Seriously?
No, it's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. You know, and the Department of Homeland Security, I would put them in the same boat as FEMA. We're on our own. That's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. We're on our own when it comes to preparedness, getting ready for what we know is coming. We don't know exactly when or how, but we know it's coming. these COVID shots are going to probably kill most of the people that have accepted them in 2 years or less. They focused on older people. They focused on first responders. They focused on minorities, blacks and Latinos, to get in line first. And once they're gone, it's going to change our world in many ways, isn't it, Leon?
Yes, it will. And seeing the Deagle report saying it's going to be reduced, the U.S. population is going to go to 65 million people. And then Dr. Judy Mikovits talks about how many people are going to pass away because of it, or actually being killed by it. So, this is definitely the death, the kill shot that they describe in many books and many documentaries.
It is. Well, Jeff, the basics don't change. You need a safe haven. You need to have plenty of potable water, plenty of food, medical supplies, ammunition, tools, a way to grow your food, don't you, Jeff?
Yeah, well, just like in the olden days.
The olden days where it was a hard life, but a good life for people that were self-sufficient. One of the things they did, I've noticed in the Ozark farms, I've seen the older farms, is they had multiple outbuildings. So that if one was lost by fire, they didn't lose everything. So they had dedicated buildings for special purposes. They had a smokehouse, they had a chicken house, which was separate. They had a barn for the storing hay and keeping the large animals out of the weather when it was time for that. Many outbuildings. And we may need to be duplicating that kind of situation, couldn't we, Jeff?
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, Leon, when you were in the Navy, you learned a lot about human nature and about getting ready, didn't you, sir?
Yes, sir. And it's just that has taken a whole nother level now. Being out and having more disposable funds for things of this nature. I mean, it's one thing being stationed in Long Beach and, being in a city of 13 plus million people, and then, being out in the country and realizing that, hey, I had friends that were over in the Riverside area, and over by Bakersfield, and they talked about being in lockdown and how they couldn't get out of the city and how they shut it down, and they even closed the national forest. And in some cases, they locked the gates, but they prevented people from getting around, trying to escape the city. So it's a lot like that movie from the 70s, Escape from New York, Escape from L.A. And right now, the ability to have your own food and grow it separately is paramount. And I agree with having items and having outbuildings, because both with the fire and theft and any other calamities, if you have things dispersed, it was like how the military learned in the early 1900s when there was a major lightning strike that hit an arsenal on the East Coast and killed a bunch of, I think it was like 25 people were killed, but they lost a third of their entire arsenal in one lightning strike. And so now the largest one is out in Nevada, and I drove by it about 6 months ago, and I was like, what? I never even heard about this. I think it's Hawthorne is the name of the Army depot, and it's the world's largest, and they had to spread out all these munitions because, one impact, one bomb could take out the entire scenario. So that's why you see the hangars and all these other things that are separated, so you don't lose everything in one fatal swoop. And that's why I always tell people, diversify everything you have. Don't have it in one spot.
Absolutely. Our next caller is John in Tennessee. Good morning, John.
Good morning, John, Leon, and Jeff. I'm listening to people talking about fuel storage, John. 40 plus years of transporting fuel. I want to give some safety concerns that I'm hearing.
Please.
People storing fuel, you need to be very careful. I'm not opposed to store all you want, but do it safely. First of all, take an example from the old farmers. They had most of the people that had successful farms, you would see their tank was on a stand. 9 times out of 10, they built the building around it. It was to keep the weather off it, keep the sun off it, keep the tank from rusting. But they also had the tanks grounded properly. So I would suggest if you're using a metal tank, whether it's a fuel oil storage or gasoline storage like you would have in your house, ground your tank. Never, ever use a plastic bucket to draw fuel off a tank. Never. You want to have a metal bucket. You want to have contact between the tank or the pipe that you're taking it out of and the container that you're putting it in, if it's a metal container. If possible, ground the container. Get your little alligator clip and ground the container to the tank because of flash fires. People don't realize gasoline is not flammable, gentlemen. Gas does not burn. The fumes are extremely dangerous. The fumes burn.
Right.
The fumes explode, whether it's gasoline or diesel. Hot diesel fuel, don't smoke around it. The diesel doesn't burn, but the fumes will burn. And you can have just as much problem with diesel as you do with gasoline. So yeah, store all you want, do it safely. I would suggest there's something you can buy. There's different names, but it's a water finding paste. Comes in something similar to a toothpaste tube. Put that on the end of a yardstick. Check your fuel for water before you draw any off. I mean, periodically. You don't have to do it every day, but if you drop that stick in blood red if there's any water in the tank. So then drain the water off before you dump the gas into your vehicle if it's been stored. Diesel fuel grows fungus on it. So if you're storing fuel, check your diesel. You can buy antifungals to pour into your fuel that don't affect the fuel. They will keep the fungus from growing. You'll save your fuel. I can tell you, you'll never ask how many people have seen a gasoline fire or flash fire. Not many, because they happen so quick. You realize that after it's happened, you never see it occur. It just happens, and you don't want to be around it. So store all the fuel you want. Please be safe. Get rid of your 5-gallon buckets. If you're planning on storing gas in them, don't do it. Unless it's a container plastic that is actually made to contain gasoline. Be safe about it.
Okay. Some good advice, John. We really appreciate that.
Well, and here's one other thing, John. You can buy ethanolized fuel, and you can actually remove the ethanol with water. There's plenty of good videos on YouTube. I won't go into that, but you can remove ethanol from gasoline. So if you need to store ethanol gas, if you can't get conventional gas, you can remove the ethanol and then use the ethanol in other areas. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Just do your homework before you store it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next caller is Dave in New York. Morning, Dave.
Hello, John. Yes, I had 2 cups of coffee by now. So
outstanding. You're ready to go.
I'm better.
Your brain's on fire. Go ahead.
Yes. I went and saw this Critically Thinking with Dr. Sherry Tenpenny and Lawrence Pilevsky for the second time. This time I listened to it to the end. I think Mike Adams had it on his Natural News situation update. I don't see it there now. But they have edited this, and they're going forward with forming groups of people to not so much be, let's not call it resistance, but to be cooperative together. And one of the major points made in the latter part of this video is that there's a lot of infighting between people, and the real point is that people need to physically get together. Even within 6-foot range, Madej says there is like your love field goes out at least 6 feet from you. And many things are identified which are to break people apart so they can't gather together and to unify and do the right things and have the right intentions. And what I see, these folks are working at a high level, and they're working together on a project to get together and to talk about the issues. And what I see in sometimes the, lower level folks, they may have different ideas. We have different personalities. I have a different personality, and I'm always right except for when I'm wrong. But these sorts of things that some people don't have the expertise, and they're not coming together with other people to try to understand. What rather happens sometimes is there's demonization of people because they have different ideas. And me, for one, whether I talk to someone on the right, left, middle, anywhere, I will come up oftentimes with different ideas and with arguments behind that. And so related to this is another article that was on RBN and is still up there by Lou Rockwell, Stop Sending Your Friends Depressing Crap. And I think Jeff can relate to this and can understand the psychology of this if he's read it or not. It's very interesting, and it's saying that people need to come together as people. When you meet with your friends, don't even talk about the virus or the vaccine, and connect to them on the primary level, because we're disturbing all our interactions with our friends. We're losing friends. But sometimes you will lose friends, but I think it's important for humanity to come together as much as possible. Jeff and John and Leon, do you have comments on this point?
I'm preparing myself mentally and emotionally and spiritually to be losing people I'm related to by blood and marriage. I know that's going to happen.
Right.
Losing friends the same way. The people that I find who are getting the majority of them who wear masks, for example, when especially outdoors and so forth, they tend to be liberals, and I rarely am I very close to them anyway. I regret that they're going to be dying because they get the COVID shot, but that was their choice. Any follow-up there, Jeff?
Well, of course, look, we are much more isolated, and there's a danger for some people who have already a tendency to isolate themselves. There's a tendency, too, as some people get older, to be more isolated. So it can have a very negative impact on older people. And older people are the most frightened of the virus, of course, because they're the most vulnerable class. So there are concerns that we should, be mindful of.
All right. Leon, any follow-up from you, sir, before we move on?
Well, I agree with you, and the fact that humans need they're social creatures, and so I agree with you. And I hadn't heard that from Dr. Majay Carey about the 6-foot range, but that makes sense. And if you isolate, that's why we're having, in Japan has already had a spike of 600% of suicide. So it is crucial we continue communicating with friends and people who are open. But I agree, don't throw a wet rag on a fire if you're trying to reach them. But I think if we do not share it with in love, then what's happening is we're just letting them, because of ignorance, they're going to die needlessly, because we want to tell them about what's happening, but we need to do it in a more, I don't even know a great way to say it, but a better way of being able to describe it without scaring them or bringing the fear aspect. But if we don't say anything at all, and they're like, well, why didn't you tell me about this? I didn't hear about Mike Adams and Dr. Ted Brower, and so I've taken the shot, and I want the convenience of being able to travel, and now I'm going to be in the next 2 or 3 years dying. That's also kind of bad.
Hey,
too.
John, I have another point. I'll hold it.
Oh, hold on to the break then, Dave. We'll be right back.
Sure.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
Hey gang, Patrick Slattery here with an important message that is pertinent to anyone who shops for groceries, eats food, or just has an inquisitive mind like myself. What I'm about to introduce you to is a segment of our food culture that has been kept so low profile to the American public that virtually no one is aware of how dominant it is on our refrigerator and cupboard shelves. What I'm talking about is the kosher certification industry and a new app, Koshertified, that delivers a comprehensive education on all aspects regarding this little-known practice. After reviewing this app, I found that it is useful for practically anyone who purchases food, regardless of their religious faith or identity. Its database of products not kosher certified is a win-win convenience for all food-conscious people. So why not check out thekosherquestion.com or click on the link at nationalbugle.com and see how modifying your grocery shopping with the Koshertified app can make a huge difference for your future.
So let's fix bayonets. We'll have the advantage of moving down the hill. They got to be tired, the Revs. They got to be close to the end if we are. So fix bayonets. Ellis, wait, Ellis, you take the left wing, I'll take the right. I want a right wheel forward of the whole regiment.
What, you mean charge?
Yes, but here's what we do. We're going to charge swinging down the hill. Just like we pulled back this left side of the regiment, now we're going to swing it down. We swing like a door. We're going to sweep them down the hill just as they come up. Understand? Does everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 4th of May. This hour is sponsored by EMP Shield. You get a great $50 discount when you get your EMP Shield equipment from my website at thelibertyman.com. Visiting with Leon Green, former U.S. Navy officer, Jeff Nyquist. His website's jrnyquist.blog. And held over from the last segment, we got Dave with another comment or question. Dave, go ahead.
Yes, well, I think if you listen to Dr. Northrup on that video, the critically thinking video, especially around 50 or 55 minutes in, she is very solid and mature. She has a real background in clinical issues here, and she said some very interesting things that I think even Horowitz would find out. I'll mention to you later, John. But the spike contamination or whatever is shedding, they mention in this video, they don't know what is occurring here, but it appears that something is shedding, and it appears it's probably airborne and not by other mechanisms. If it's the spike protein is, if you look at a coronavirus particle, it's about maybe 1/25th of the diameter of a SARS-CoV-2 virus, okay? That's extremely small. The masks, again, will not block that. And so what do? Do we use self-contained breathing apparatus to go into a store where people are? Do we try to go when no one else is there? Maybe that's a good idea. Dr. Tenpenny suggests that maybe we should all be on ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and quercetin, and explains why, and maybe add some other things there. That is a very interesting question. Then later on, Carrie Madej points out a very good point, which we all knew based on Friday the 13th of March last year, who is in control in the U.S., and is our regular government in control? FEMA took control on that day, and I suspect they still have control, and she's saying we have no government. Now, this can explain a lot of things, including the election shutdown and everything. So if you think under these conditions, when the governments have been essentially dissolved by emergencies, we need to get them back or run for cover or protect ourselves by banding together. Various solutions are possible. Any comments on that?
Well, I think we need to check out everything we can and get as much information as we can. Jeff, you got any follow-up?
Well, yeah. One of my thoughts is there's so much controversy. You got people like Cliff Kincaid who think the vaccine's fine. You've got people like Dr. Van Bosch who think that there's real serious problems that the vaccine has. You've got all kinds of different opinions. And as far as the virus goes, I had somebody ranting on my website about how the virus is so incredibly dangerous long-term once it gets in your body that you need the vaccine, And I think we just don't know enough. And I think people have this idea that science has all the answers, that we know all kinds of things. And I don't think science has the answers people think it does. I think that the truth especially about when you get to medical science and biology, there may have been even understandings about the human body and health that have been lost, that maybe people in ancient times knew some things we don't understand today, and some understandings we have today that are misunderstandings. And it's clear to me when I look at the literature on all this, it's clear to me that this is so complicated and there's so many holes in our understanding that even the best experts, you just don't know if they're going to be proven right at the end of the day. So we just don't know.
Right. Leon, any follow-up from you, sir, before I move on?
No, I thank you.
Okay, Dave, we appreciate your input.
All right, thanks. Just take a look at emergency use authorization requirements. It requires that there be no other treatment. They made sure that the other treatments weren't available medically. Right. So that was fraud and false right there.
On the face of it. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Well, we've been had as a country and worldwide, the entire world, the developed and undeveloped world has been had with this false paradigm, the smoke and mirrors, non-pandemic. It's a very tragic situation that will result in, I believe, tens of millions of people dying. I think that's where this is headed, by design. And we need to be aware of that, do what we can to mitigate, and be ready for a new world. The world will be different, Jeff, in many ways, a year or two from now, won't it, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And, Leon, I know you agree also. The world will be very different in a year or two, won't it, sir?
Absolutely, and I don't think it'll even take that long before.
Here's our bottom of the hour break.
Dr.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms, or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356, or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Have you been looking for a trusted long-term storable food company? We have a solution for you. Simply Clean Foods is dedicated to providing the best quality food you can buy next to fresh from a farmer's market. Our line of resealable fruits, vegetables, and meats are suitable for everyday use, and you won't have to worry about throwing away valuable groceries ever again. Our food is completely GMO-free, and our stringent quality controls, plus testing for heavy metals, makes us unique in the storable foods market. Simply Clean Foods' primary focus is to bring clean food to people all around the world and change the way we look at freeze-dried food in our daily cooking. When you purchase from simplycleanfoods.net, not only will you be receiving high-quality food, but you will also be supporting veterans in need across the country and those who are affected by natural disasters. Right now, Amazon Prime members will receive fast 2-day shipping. Go to simplycleanfoods.net. That's simplycleanfoods.net. But do it today.
All right, we're back with Jared Moore here on Tuesday, the 4th of May. My website is thelibertyman.com. There's a lot there. If you have to go places where wearing a mask is mandatory, we got the solution. It's a mosquito net mask made by my friend Tim Spencer. 3 lovely Filipino owners fabricating these masks in Salem, Missouri. You can be in compliance and still breathe. I keep mine handy all the time. Also at my website, of course, Energy Cleaners. We're getting caught up on back orders. Get the details there. You can place your order right there and call my toll-free line for your energy cleaner and your mattress pad at 800-592-9543. This is a Tuesday morning roundtable. Steve Manoon can't join us today. He's helping his father get from the hospital to get home. And we have Leon Green, former U.S. Navy officer. We have Jeff Nyquist. His website's jrnyquist.blog. And, gentlemen, our next caller is Glenn in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, John. Good morning, gentlemen. Hi. Again, okay, some real specific thoughts about the COVID stuff and where we are at the moment. Number one, I'm a Christian, so I thank God, the Father of my Lord Jesus Christ, for preserving me and my patient and my coworkers. Thus far, we've been through the worst of it last year, and now we're in a different phase of all this. So I thank God for being faithful to preserve us. I would strongly suggest that if you're doing nothing else in terms of nutrient supplementation, you at least take vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc, supplemental zinc, a good multi-mineral, multivitamin supplement. I think we are far too ascetic in general, so I agree with the doctors who say that we should, not eat so much in the way of the junk food and the stuff that keeps us fat, makes us ascetic. So, again, C, D, zinc, multi-minerals, multivitamins, a good thing. That sort of thing. In terms of the who we're hearing from, when you hear the credentials of Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Northrup, as another caller said, is a remarkable voice. She's a women's health expert. And these people are right on the edge of what's going on with these clotting issues and bleeding issues and that sort of thing. So Doctors Tenpenny, Mercola, Mikovits, and Northrup. If you listen to some of their forums, things, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny's website is a good source for that. She makes her podcasts available. John, you have several things posted. There are a number of places where these roundtables that they have are fascinating, and these people are putting their careers on the line in order to come out about this stuff. And so, definitely recommend those people. I have family members who have gotten the vaccine, and hidden that fact from me, and then finally later it came out. So we're in this phase now where a lot of the people who've been vaccinated are saying, "Oh, I've had both shots and I'm fine. I'm fully vaccinated." There's this supreme confidence that they have. They're clearly not familiar with the issues, what's going on, and then with things coming up this summer and in the future as time passes. Excuse me. If another coronavirus or the cold or a flu or any other pathogen gets involved, as these people's immune systems have been affected, this is where you could see the vaccinated people really getting hit by a new antigen introduced into the mix, and their immune systems may not respond. And in addition, we currently have the new element of unvaccinated people being affected by something that is being transmitted from the vaccinated people, whether it's RNA or messenger RNA or messenger RNA fragments or spike proteins or spike protein fragments. Something is going on, and now so we're going to have this situation where each group is vilifying the other and saying, "You're dangerous. No, you're dangerous." So it's a bizarre time. The coming months are going to be especially revelatory, especially as people get out and about more in the summer. They're looking for things to be open. People congregate more. If a cold bug or something, or a different strain of some kind of coronavirus comes through, we're going to see huge, wide-ranging effects from this. So stay prayed up, stay rested up. Take some supplements and watch your diet, and continue. I just continue to maintain, a normal pattern without getting into situations where I'm getting in too close to too many people. It is good for people to come together and not be isolated, but you have to balance the socializing with unnecessary risk avoidance. All right, gentlemen, thank you. That's what I felt.
Okay. For the call. We open lines at 512-248-8252. Jeff, your expertise, of course, is the international communist conspiracy. And when you start peeling back the layers of the COVID issue, you start bumping into a lot of communist Chinese, don't you, sir?
Yeah. Well, the virus comes out of communist China, and I think we can be pretty sure to say it came from that lab and not from some kind of food market in Wuhan.
Right.
And if it came from a weapons lab, that means it's very possibly a chimera virus, as some people who've examined the DNA say. And then there's the question of its rapid mutation and what's happened to it since such a thing is going to mutate. And then that, with a rapidly mutating virus like corona, the question of a vaccine becomes, what are we doing? Because this thing is going to mutate fast. By the time a vaccine is ready, is the vaccine going to be effective? Probably not. So then you have to ask the question, why have all these health authorities gone to this solution? This is the thing that baffles me. Right. Is this just simple incompetence? Shouldn't they know better? I don't know.
Well, that remains to be seen. But hopefully the truth will come out. They've been pretty good at covering their tracks and concealing it, but hopefully the truth will come out. But the international commerce conspiracy, in my opinion, based on what I know, is clearly behind this. What do you think, Jeff? Hello, Jeff.
Yeah, I didn't quite hear the last word, dropped out.
Yeah, I said, based on what I've read and what I know, the international commerce conspiracy is clearly behind this whole COVID matter. What do you think, sir?
Well, the communists are using it. I mean, you look at the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and all this stuff about the Great Reset. This is all a big push for socialism, which is the road that the communists want us to take. So yeah, it's more than suspicious. I mean, when you put these pieces together, there's reason to be alarmed at this. And the lockdowns are breaking down the economies of countries. We haven't even talked about the French generals and the controversy that's exploded in France. France is moving in a very strange direction, and there was massive violence on May Day between the left and the right, between the yellow jackets and the yellow vests and the Antifa, Muslim groups that are rioting in France.
Really? That was only a couple of days ago. May the 1st.
Yeah, that's right.
And was that restricted to Paris, or was it in other places, sir?
Oh, I think it was all over the country. You had, I think April 16th is when the general's letter came out. I think it was about 20 French generals. And now, I understand as of today, there maybe over 26,000 signatories from the military. They keep, there's thousands a day adding their name to endorse the statement of the generals. I don't know if you've seen it, but the retired French generals are saying, look, the country's in a crisis. It's extremely dangerous. We have an internal enemy here. We've got parts of France that Frenchmen can't go in. And the laws are not being enforced evenly. They're being enforced against French patriots in favor of Muslims who are not becoming French. And this is a problem. And of course, the government has threatened Florence Parly. I think she's the equivalent of the Attorney General over there, has been threatening with prosecution any active duty military personnel who signed this document. And you had the chief of the French General Staff, General Lecointre, saying that this is not acceptable. French, we need to prosecute French soldiers who sign into this because the French military is not political. Well, of course, then you have the former head of the French Foreign Legion, General Piquemol, Christian Piquemol, writing another letter just excoriating the chief of the French General Staff, calling him, a political general, a technocrat who has disgraced the flag of France, who is a political puppet, who is supposed to stand up for the military, the uniformed military, and is basically betraying them and betraying the country. And then he finishes the letter with profound contempt for the chief of the military staff in France. This is extraordinary events because people are comparing it to what happened in '58 with the founding of the Fifth Republic and the Algerian crisis. France almost had a civil war at that time, and now the Algerian war really has come home to France. That's what they're really facing now.
Pretty amazing stuff. Pretty amazing. Leon, you've been patient listening to all this. What's your follow up on that, sir.
Well, he's covered so many different issues. I don't even know where to start right now.
Well, understood.
I mean, I see the French farmers are, being relegated, saying that they're going to stop their ability to produce, and so, now you have these mega tractors and combines, that are protesting the oppression by the government. So, I wasn't aware of the May Day or the May 1st calamity, but yes, the farmers are extremely irritated, and that needs to spread because they're oppressing the farmers worldwide about being able to do it, and then they're doing the stimmy checks for them. They're saying, okay, hey, don't worry about producing food this year. We'll just give you a bunch of money, and we know you're going to go out of business. And by the way, if you do, Bill Gates will be the first one in line to buy your property, and so him and Bezos will be just scarfing up all sorts of prime property worldwide now, and they want to do the vertical gardens and have it all sold by the Amazon. So there's so many sides to this that are just coming down altogether.
There are. I wasn't aware of Bill Gates buying farmland in Europe, but that doesn't surprise me at all. It sounds like he wants all the farmland, doesn't it, Leon?
No, not all of it. Just the most important and the most effective.
The most productive farmland. All right.
Exactly.
Amazing. Well, gentlemen, we're nearing the end of the show, and I think it's time to talk about mitigation, what people can and should be doing to protect themselves, people they love and care about. I'll begin, and then we can have some follow-up by Jeff and Leon. You need a safe haven, first of all, a location away from a major city. The farther the better. 100 miles is a good distance to be away from a major urban, suburban area. That location has to have secure housing where you can stay warm in the winter without the power grid, where you can grow your own food, have trusted neighbors, hopefully nearby, and have everything you need on the premises. Not only the water, but the food, medical supplies, a way to defend life and property, and so forth. And that the time for that is really come and gone, but people need to make whatever effort they can make. Jeff, your follow-up, sir.
My follow-up is, I think we need to be more philosophic in our approach to everything. We need to think things through more and not just react in a knee-jerk way. We do need to be thoughtful. And that means, casting out a wider net for information and opinion, and thinking things through, not just once, twice, but constantly. So that would be my
okay. And Leon, go ahead, sir. Your follow-up.
Well, I agree with you. It's kind of late to now start to try to buy land, but a lot of rich people who vacated New York and California are scarfing up land all over the nation, and they're paying, top dollar, and they're affecting the rental rates and the housing rates, and the only people who are really making money there are the realtors and the people who are dumping the land. So, land is great, but if you're paying, 200-300% more than it's worth, and, we have another 2008 debacle, and now instead of having capital or dollar assets in food and other preparatory items, you have it all spent on real estate and nothing to actually put on there. So then you're, in essence, you've just moved from one oppressed location to a rural setting, but you don't have any food and anything to protect yourself, and you're brand new to the neighborhood. So everybody is already going to be looking at you, with a lot of scrutiny. So here's this person who stayed in New York and stayed in California and put up with all their miscellaneous defective political views, and even Sheriff Brady Judd down in Florida said, hey, we invite you to Florida. Don't bring your stupid ideas that failed miserably in New York down here.
Right.
And he was very vocal when he said that, and I appreciated him.
Jim and I just got a note from a listener about what's going on in Chicago or Illinois, both with vaccine verification, a number of ideas being floated for the state and the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago. Very serious stuff that people need to be aware of. I agree with both of you gentlemen. The time is late. The time is late. Things that could and should have been done years ago, people, for those reasons, have it. Here's our last break. We'll be right back with our summary.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Please view, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stop Terrorism. Please contact us if you or anyone you know who wants to be on our show at thetruthpharmacy@gmail.com. Keep it real. Take the red pill.
Extendivite 7-herb formulation is approved to help maintain cardiovascular health and help lower blood lipid levels in adults. Extendivite is made from hawthorn, garlic, valerian, cayenne, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, and milk thistle. The herbs in Extendivite have been chosen for their ability to help with overall health. Many people have reported improved energy and stamina in just a few months. If you think you could feel just a little bit better, then Extendivite may just be for you. Extendivite is an all-natural supplement. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com. That's HEARTDROP.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
But I'd like to ask each of you what it is you value so highly that you are willing to fight and possibly die for. We will call that Texas. The Mexican army hopes to lure us into a tempting escape. Almost anything seems better than remaining in this place, penned up. If, however, we force the enemy to attack, I believe every one of you will prove himself worth 10 in return. We will not only show the world what patriots are made of, but we will also deal a crippling blow to the army of Santa Anna. If anyone wishes to depart, under the white flag of surrender, you may do so now. You have that right. But if you wish to stay here, with me, in the Alamo, we will sell our lives dearly.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday with the Roundtable. And we'll have our summaries that we get here. We'll start with Jeff, your summary for the day, and then follow up with Leon. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, we're in a growing dangerous period, and mentioning what is happening in France. There are interesting things because it seems that the military in France is moving towards some kind of intervention, which may be a solution favored in Germany, although through the police in Germany and indirectly to the generals, and in Spain eventually. The English-speaking world is very doubtful because both in England and the United States, there is a lack of any interest because perhaps in America we're too comfortable, but we're headed into, the whole Western world's headed into a much greater crisis. Especially through economic.
All right.
Yeah.
Good analysis. Thank you, sir. And your final comments, Leon, please.
Yeah, I think they are really not talking about the food shortages that are coming, and also in the fall, how much the wheat supply has been impacted by both floods and fires and locusts. I mean, this is all biblical at the number of rats and mice down in New South Wales, Australia is just incredible. And, like you said, we are just so comfortable and so complacent that nobody's taking any action. But it's like a trap. Right now, everybody's just content. And they're setting this trap. And, yes, we're going to be, the people who are not prepared are going to be locked in. So it is crucial that you get started. And you cannot procrastinate. It's not even an option anymore.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much as usual for being with us. And Jeff, we'll look forward to having you back tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and Leon, thank you, sir. All right. Well, the drama continues. We need to save the people we can save. That would mean helping people to decide not to get the COVID shot. I attempted to post something on Facebook this morning. It got kicked off for being wrong, according to Facebook. That's too bad. In the meantime, get medical supplies, your energy cleaning, essential oils now while you can. Firearms, ammunition. Ever get guns. Please do a fun, safe, productive day. God bless America.
Hello, I'm Dr. Leonard Horowitz. I was right 30 years ago in warning the world about threatening lab virus outbreaks, AIDS, and Ebola. I was right 20 years ago when FBI Director Robert Mueller made me a suspect in the anthrax mailings because I warned the Bureau before the CIA's biocrime and Cipro sales psyops happened. I was right about COVID-19 being an AIDS-laced mutagen planned to resurge this fall to excuse officials' profitable depopulation globalization agendas. And I was right about the only safeguards being antioxidants and holy spiritual sustenance. Vitamin C, D, zinc, chlorophyll, oxygen, and oxysilver especially transmits the frequency resonance to neutralize the expanded function bioweapon. Oxysilver is a double superconductor of the healing power of love. It is the first nutraceutical invented to amplify prayer power and the faithful, loving intention of your heart. Buy, try, and stockpile Oxysilver through HealthyWorldStore.com.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Because because you can handle the truth.